Hello and welcome to Steve's Backyard Bonsai. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of work on my Jacaranda Forest. For those of you who watch the channel, you may remember that my dog Luca tried to get in here to get some fertilizer baskets and ended up loosening all of these back trees and killing 3 of them. So during my last pruning, I put together a little tray of cuttings, some of which have taken. So I'm going to look to replace 1, 2, 3 trees in the back here with 3 of those cuttings. I think there are 3 appropriate ones. And I've been pretty happy with the placement of the trees in this planting. I put this muck here to kind of stabilize the trees that didn't die, and just to help me remember which ones did, I left them in place. So I'll be digging these out and replacing them with, I'll show you in a second. Okay, in this cutting tray or seed tray, whatever you want to call it, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cuttings that took. 2 of them are really cool. This one in the back, I don't know if you can see it, starts to bifurcate way down low, as does this one here. So I'm going to probably put those in a separate in a separate pot, just to try and see if I can get something interesting going. And this one is quite beautiful. And the leaves are just spectacular. Now these cuttings have been outside and it's gotten down to 49 degrees. This is or 48 degrees. This is I would call it a semi-tropical or tropical tree. So I've been a little worried about it. I got to get them onto the planting, which is going to come in the house in a few weeks. Right now I've got it in the greenhouse with the heat on. So that's been working out okay. So here's my stock of trees that I'm going to use to replace the dead ones, and let's get started. Okay, because there's muck here, I'm fully expecting to find a lot of roots up in the muck. A caution that I will remind everyone of: if you have a topsoil layer or muck, you will get roots. So if your desire is to have all the roots be buried, then don't put a muck layer on. I'll speed this up. Okay, so that has removed the layer on top, and as you can see, there's quite a few of surface roots from the trees that are alive. There weren't many roots on the trees that had died, which is exactly what I expected. So during this operation, I noticed there's quite a few ants in here, and this is coming in the house, so I've got to eradicate them. So what I will do is submerge this in a tub of water outside for a little while. That should drive all the ants away. And I'll keep it in the greenhouse after that, and that should take care of the problem, hopefully. I don't want to bring the ants in the house, that's for sure. All right, so while I'm waiting for all of the water to drain off and see if there's any ants crawling around on there, I'm going to dig out these Jacaranda and inspect the roots. I also have a Hinoki cypress in here, one that I saw growing in front of a museum that we were visiting in August. And it was a beautiful one. This looks like it must have rooted. Probably going to have to do a fair amount of root pruning on these. And I feel as though this may have, yeah, there are roots coming through the bottom. I don't know if you can see that, but not too many. Look at that, look at that. Trying to be as careful as possible. This does not. See? Maybe I won't have to do that much root pruning. You do get a nice flat root base, don't you? All right, let me clean these off. In looking over the cuttings, I just want to point out something interesting. This was the cutting that was the end of a stem. I didn't do a mid-point cut at the top. This was an extension. It rooted way more than any other, but I don't think I'm going to have a very short tree in the end, and I needed a short tree. So I've decided not to use this one first, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cuttings to put in this little triagami pot. Bonsai shoes number 7. This one I haven't used yet, so I'm anxious to put something in here too, and it's root development I'm looking for, and that's what this has been performing very well with. Let me get going on planting these 6, and then we'll put these 3 into the Jacaranda Forest. Since this is going to be a forest, and just a little talk about jacarandas and my current experience with them. These are leaves. These 2 big ones on the outside, they're not branches, they're leaves. These ones coming out just above it, I believe will be branches. So I'm going to cut the leaves off, leaving a bit of a stub because they will just die off. And this is the part that died back. This was mid-stalk, but this is the part that died off, so I'm going to trim that back. And that is pretty tough. Wow, that was surprising. So I'm going to start getting a short tree, which will fit in my forest very nicely. This one, I'll take this leaf off, and cut back. Actually, I'm going to cut it back a little further. It should be easier to cut too. It is. See if I can cut this one back a little further. No, can't. All right. I've got a branch, or actually the trunk continuation going up this way. So I'm just going to cut this part of the tree off. And these will fit more together and look more like a grouping. This one I can cut right about there. Didn't go through. Oh my. 3 cuts. That'd be a terrible executioner, wouldn't I? And I'm going to cut that leaf off. Once again, it's not a branch. It's a leaf with many little leaflets on it. Okay, that's 4. These will grow up very cute, I think. All right, leaf, possibly a branch. Leaf and leaf, already a branch. And the part that died back before. I urge you to try jacarandas. They grow easily from seed. And if you want to produce a young forest, you got to rely on the foliage that they give you for your canopy, unless you can develop branches, and that's what I'm hoping I'll be able to do by having cut a section and rooted it from a section rather than from, an end cut, if you will. I don't know what the proper word is. So I got some choices here. I've got a very flat root base, and I could trim away all these roots, but I think I'm just going to shorten the root base a little bit. I think it will be fine. I don't know how easy this will be to cut. Very easy. Still have plenty of roots left, and I can flatten that out nicer. All right, I'll get some soil in the pot and we'll be right back. Just had a thought. If I want this one to start having low branches and still be my tallest tree, and maybe fatten up the trunk a little bit, I'm going to cut the top off, leaving plenty for dieback because we know it dies back. And I'll get some branches happening there. I don't want to, I'm going to cut these back a little bit. Like I said, these were outside, so they got a little cold. The leaves are unbelievably small, the leaflets. I love the way that looks. You got to try jacaranda. Dave, if you see this, see if you plant up those seeds. They're an interesting tree. All right, on this tallest tree, not the largest in terms of girth, but this tallest tree, I'm just going to trim the roots back a little bit, just so they fit nicer in the pot. And since it's root development I'm going for, I'm hoping to get some good growth. The particle size on this mix is a little bit big. I'll take out the largest pumice. Mounding it up in the front. I've got a nice root spread. I want this tree right in the middle. Let's get some mix on that. Just enough to hold it in place. Here's a thicker tree. Not much in the way of roots. It'll give it a prominent place in the forest. Also a thick tree, so it's going up front. But over here, not equidistant. Once again, I'll pick out the larger pieces of pumice that are in the way. I'll bury this one a little deeper. And I got these 3 little songbirds for the back. No need to trim the roots here, just make a place for them. Little Jacaranda Forest, how cute. 2 more, little skinny minis. I'll straighten this all out. So my hopes are high that they'll do okay. Let me get this watered. Let me look at it first. It's silly to have this tree in the foreground, but Let's see how they develop. Let me get this watered. All right. Drink up, little babies. And I'll keep this in a, in a little tray so that water collects at the bottom. The only reason I don't like doing that is mosquitoes. But I'll be vigilant. All right, enough time on this little future project. Let's get to the real problem at hand. All right, same thing as the other forest. I'm gonna cut the leaf short. Being overcautious. And this one I'll put here. I'll decide actually. This one, roots are a little long. And cut it here and here. Also, I gotta go back to the other one, but I'm gonna cut the top off to where it died back. I'll do this one as well. Wow. Okay. That is tough. Do they make anything out of jacaranda wood? Oh yeah, I think somebody told me guitars. All right. There's my 3 little trees. Okay, which one will go where? I guess I gotta look from the front. The most prominent one is this. I think I want that one right here. And I've got 2 others. One was here. And one was here. This works. That's not how I had it. I had it with another here. So I got that one in the middle. This here. Yeah. Thanks for coming with me on that little mind journey. All right, let's get these planted up. It looks like they should fit. All right, so this is going here, so it's a little close. So I'm going to try and redirect these roots that are in here so I have room to plant. And then I'll push these down and get them in the right place. Okay, the roots are out of the way. I'll be adding new soil, so I'm just going to let this old soil drop out. And this is the same soil as I'll be putting back in, but I'm not seeing those super large pumice pellets. Maybe I pulled them out last time as well. All right, that's a good spot. These trees were all cuttings, and they get pretty good looking. But I'm trying to figure out how to get branching down low. These are my back trees. I want them to look far away. So, all right. That's deep enough to hold it in. tree number 2, right here. Same thing. And try and reposition these roots. I'm just going to push them aside. So this fits in nicely. Pile in the old soil. All right, let's see about this third tree. That one's right here. And when I'm all done, I'll show you the view from the front. I'm just kind of reserving it at the moment. Yeah, I think you'll even be able to see these all even better than they were originally. Right, this one's the one that didn't have much in the way of roots. Piling in some of that old soil. And it's what, the 22nd of October today, I think. And so they're all planted. I'll get it all watered up. But before I do, I want to top it off with a little bonsai soil, especially in the places where the roots got exposed when I took the muck layer off. So let me grab some soil. This topper layer can go over the whole thing. As long as it gets watered in and kind of protected a little bit from the birds. This will be able to go in the house nicely now. This little scoop allows you to aim a little further into your planting. All right, let me finish up getting the soil on it and I'll set us up for a nice little view of it. Okay, I got it on a turntable and I'll continue putting topper on it. All right, so this is the Jacaranda Forest replanted. I'm hoping that you can see this tree right here. Yeah, right there. Very low branching, hopefully. This tree right here in the middle. And this other middle tree right here. You see it appear and disappear. But the idea of this forest is depth, with there being a real front. And I want to make a landscape out of this, so there will be a path going up this way at some point. But it's ready to go in the house now. I'll just polish up the old mica pot a little bit. It'll look a little nicer. Usually have this in the kitchen at an east-southeast window. I'm going to prune this up a little bit too. And as I mentioned, these are leaves and these are branches up here. Leaves off of branches. So I want to encourage that, and I'm going to cut away, I'm going to cut away the lower leaves. Got to let more light into this. Ouch. Mosquitoes. Oh, I'm getting bitten up. Excuse me while I set my thermocelles. You get a false sense of security when the weather gets cold, but then it warms up. Thermocell. Rechargeable. Best thing to happen to outdoor living in my lifetime so far. And I put it here and let it go to work. I'll speed this up too. Alright, here's the Jacaranda Forest, all pruned up and ready to go inside, all de-antified and slimmed down, and 3 of the trees in the back of the forest replaced by cuttings. Another interesting observation is I've been trying to develop branching like I've got on this tree everywhere. Starting to get it here, but way more vigorous on one side. Started to get it here and then it died off. Here's a very weak opportunity happening, but this is really not going anywhere. Maybe because I thinned it out and more light can get to the inner leaves. Maybe it'll have a chance now. Here's another case where something started to grow behind the main one, and that's obviously not where I wanted it to be. You will have no trouble maintaining a nice canopy in summer on these trees. It'll fill out, it'll overhang the pot, it'll be beautiful. Developing branches is a whole nother story, and I'm not sure I know how to do it, and I don't trust myself enough to cut these back. Actually, why not? Let's see what happens. I should get more branching there, shouldn't I? All right, here's my Jacaranda Forest. Thank you for keeping me company in my backyard. Give you one more spin around.